Okay, we're at Rabbi Hoda.
Sure.
Okay, now, part of my mistake yesterday is that I misread the Rabbi Kanievsky's change of the Girsa.
That's where we stopped.
Okay, yeah, that's where we stopped, right. Rabbi, do you have the space where we stopped?
Absolutely not.
We are right up to which says Gemara in the.
Gemara.
No, right opposite this.
Oh, that opposite Gemara.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where it says Gemara. So someone Rabbi Hoda.
Oh, I see.
By one of the, like a line above.
Right.
There's a dot.
The line above it.
Yeah, there's Omar Rabbi Hoda. Omar Rabbi Hoda.
Oh.
Oh, we were just discussing your absence. Were you sick this morning?
Yeah.
How do you doing?
You have a nice new rain hat.
Like the color.
Black.
Black.
Isn't that the only color that's...
We are on Daf, as I was saying, we're on Tezvama base. Design base, sorry. And
Strong statement.
we are right opposite where in the Pnei Moshe you see the word Gemara. Pnei Moshe on the right hand margin. So if you look above that, the Gemara Rabbi Hada. You see that? Any idea?
No.
I'm sure. Well, I have a thing here. So the Chaim Kanievsky points out that there's a word missing. It should be Rabbi Yoina. Rabbi Yoina said, Hada Mara. This teaches us. Now, our Mishnah teaches us. What it teaches us in our Mishnah? Our Mishnah says a very interesting halacha. If you take a look back in the Mishnah, it says that I think it's actually the top line over here. Top line on the top on Tesayim base where the little aleph is, right there at the beginning of the page. Perushinimra malachton, fruit which was completely finished. The over B'tok Yerushalayim then passed through Jerusalem. Yachzer Ma'aser Sheni Yochal Yerushalayim. You didn't actually had not yet tasted it when it passed through Yerushalayim. You only took off the Ma'aser once it left Yerushalayim. But you no longer have the right of redemption. Since it passes fully processed fruit through Yerushalayim, once you take off the Ma'aser Sheni, subsequently, that Ma'aser Sheni must be brought back to Yerushalayim as is and may not be redeemed, and bring the money back and buy fruit in Yerushalayim. Okay, that's what the Mishnah is telling us. So this line, the Mishnah says, Rabbi Yoina, Hadar Mara, this teaches us, Krishu Tavel Rishon Sheni. If you have a bucket or a container full of grain, which is tevel, and you haven't taken out of it neither Ma'aser Rishon nor Ma'aser Sheni yet, no Ma'aser. And then somebody came and ate it. If they warned him, don't eat it because you're going to eat Ma'aser Sheni, which is a lav, so outside Yerushalayim, so loke, he gets malchus. Why is it malchus? Because we see here clearly that the Ma'aser Sheni, although the Ma'aser Sheni is not yet separated, it's only dormant, or perhaps dormant is not the right word. It's only hypothetical Ma'aser Sheni. Nonetheless, when it passes through Yerushalayim, it's as if it is actual Ma'aser Sheni. And therefore, you must bring back that Ma'aser Sheni and not redeem it, even after you set it, so you designate it outside Yerushalayim. So too, that from this we extrapolate that if you have this Ma'aser Sheni, if you have tevel, from which you have not taken yet Ma'aser Sheni off, nonetheless, if I give you a warning and say don't eat it because you're going to be eating Ma'aser Sheni, that's considered to be sufficient to give you malchus for that reason. Now, there are other reasons you get malchus for eating this, right? You get malchus for eating tevel itself. You get malchus for eating, I guess, truma. I'm not sure what else there possibly could be. But you could specifically get malchus. The Chiddush HaGemara is stressing is that you could get malchus for eating Ma'aser Sheni, which has not yet been tithed, because the Ma'aser Sheni is considered to be hypothetically extant within the not yet tithed grain. Okay? So it says more concerning this. It says more about this. Raimona doesn't like this. Vatnina didn't learn subsequently in our Mishnah. Beishamrim Yachzor Ma'aser Sheni Shalem V'Yochal B'Yerushalayim. I don't like this. Later in the Mishnah it says, I meaning Rabbi Mona. Later in the Mishnah it says that Beis Shammai holds an even more extreme opinion. Beis Shammai holds that even if the Ma'aser Sheni, even until by Shelo Nigmar Malachton, they're not even fully processed yet. They're not ready and ripe, so to speak, to be meisered yet, because you intend to chvetz, let's say it's grapes, and you intend to squeeze them into wine, or the olives, and you intend to squeeze them into oil. Nonetheless, when it passes through Yerushalayim, that's it. It's as if the Ma'aser Sheni is already taken off. Okay? You may no longer afterwards, when you do take off the Ma'aser Sheni, redeem it and bring up the money to Yerushalayim. So says Mar, listen. Says Rabbi Yimona specifically, listen. Islach Meimar, can you say Al de Beis Shammai loike, that Beis Shammai would say on that self same grain, were you to eat it, you get malchus? Of course not. Because you can only get malchus if you eat tevel of perush nigmar malachton, of fully processed fruits and grains, right? Because before it's fully processed, it's not considered to be bona fide tevel yet. Yet nonetheless, my Rabbi Beis Shammai says, at that point it's already considered to be dormant Ma'aser Sheni. But the point that he's making is we see that the two things are not linked. Something could be dormant Ma'aser Sheni. Yet and dormant, again, I'm slipping, the hypothetical Ma'aser Sheni, and generate certain halachas vis-a-vis the negation of the capacity to redeem, yet nonetheless not be considered Ma'aser Sheni vis-a-vis halachas of getting malchus for having consumed it. Because obviously they're not contingent on each other, because there's no way that you're ever going to get malchus, because it simply is not yet at the stage where it's considered bona fide tevel yet, and therefore you extrapolate that even to about pears which are fully processed, we have no evidence that if you eat them, and I warned you not to eat them because of the Ma'aser Sheni inside, that you're going to get malchus for that. That might be a completely, totally different sphere. Okay?
So what's the chiddush of the pears that are dormant, Ma'aser Sheni?
Only that deprives you of the right of redemption.
Oh, okay.
That's the sole and exclusive chiddush. That's what we're saying. No more than that. Okay? Says more further. Rabbi Elo. In fact, so how do we understand our Mishnah? Elo chomer uben mechitzos. It's this is really answering your question. This is a severity which applies to the walls, that the walls grant a certain severity to the grain that they can no longer redeem the Ma'aser Sheni, but no more than that. Of hachal chomer u'b'mechitzos, just like Beis Shammai holds it's a chomer mechitzos by perish loading ramalachton. There's a severity in their entering the walls by fruit which is not yet fully processed. So too, the fruit which is fully processed, the fact that there's a severity that you may no longer redeem it is not linked in essence to the concept of it being dormant Ma'aser Sheni, but rather it's unique halacha vis-a-vis the halachas of flogging, but rather unique halacha vis-a-vis the absorption and redemption which runs in proportion to that. Okay? Says the Gemara, Rabbi Zira boy. Rabbi Zira asked, Hifli shalav sheni mimoko macher. Now, it's a very interesting question Rabbi Zira asked. You got this grain, or these grapes, or whatever they are, and he passed them through Yerushalayim. Now, you really are supposed to take Ma'aser Sheni on it internally, and that Ma'aser Sheni should be taken up to Yerushalayim and not redeemed. But he didn't do that. You took Ma'aser Sheni on this container of grain from some other grain, a third party, so to speak. Right? You used other grain, and the truth is, you're really entitled to do that. I can't stop you from doing that. Because although I said, well, if you take off the Ma'aser Sheni from here, then this internally, and this Ma'aser Sheni can never be redeemed again. Since right now this is just plain Jane Tevel, there's nothing which inherently bars you from making the Ma'aser Sheni from some other place altogether on this grain, right? There's no barrier to that. There's no inherent barrier. So what if you indeed did that? Hivish lov shei mokamacher niftar. Is that taka permissible? Or does it work? Or is already absorbed by the walls, and therefore the Ma'aser Sheni must therefore is compelled to come internally from this grain. Okay, I can't go further afield and take off Ma'aser Sheni. Rabbi Yena asks like this. Also, kulo shein mokamach. What about the reverse? You took this entire batch and made it Ma'aser Sheni in some other grain which you had. So the entire batch had passed through Yerushalayim after Nigmar Malachta. After the process, you now made Ma'aser Sheni on something else. So I know that the Ma'aser Sheni which was within this cannot be redeemed. But how much of this is actually supposed to be Ma'aser Sheni? Approximately. What?
9%.
About 9%, right. So what about the other 81%, which you now did make Ma'aser Sheni as well? That's what the Gemara is asking. Lo nitpas? Do I say that all of it may no longer be redeemed anymore? Because you made all of it Ma'aser Sheni, it all passed through Yerushalmi. Or lo nitpas elecha me'asar shebo? Or what is the extent which cannot be redeemed? Only 1/10 or approximately 1/9 of it, 9% of it, the amount which was which was the original extent of what the Ma'aser Sheni would have been had you not made it Ma'aser Sheni completely in its entirety because of some other reason which you had to do so. Okay, says more further. Hasali te'enim. Now this is going back in our Mishnah. It says that it says in our Mishnah that sometimes we say that. Buckets full of figs are Gemar Malacha, and sometimes they're not. So it depends. Asali tein la'achila. So if they're meant to squeeze or to press, that's not Gemar Malacha. Asali tein la'achila, but it's meant to, if you brought in eating figs, or asali non la'achila, or eating grapes, not meant to press or to squeeze, Gemar Malacha, and that's where they considered to be Gemar Malacha, they're considered to be fully processed, and then if they enter Yerushalmi, they may no longer leave. Or even call it Beisil. Or Beisil Beis Shammai. Beisil said to Beis Shammai, Ein atem moedim lanu she... Oh, wait. Yeah. Amru Beisil Beis Shammai. Ein atem moedim lanu perish lo nigmar malachton. Don't you agree with us? With fruit. With fruit, this is going on. This is going to Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda. If you take a look back in our Mishnah a minute, to take a look back at the top of the page. Perish Nigmar Malachta, I just want to review to the end of the Mishnah because the Machlokes here. Perish Nigmar Malachta v'avu Rusal Yerushalayim. Tanakama holds if you have fruit which the malacha which were fully processed and they pass through Yerushalayim, Yachzor Ma'aser Sheni Shlem v'yochel b'Yerushalayim. When you take off Ma'aser Sheni, then that has to go back to Yerushalayim and be eaten there. Now, according to Tanakama, everybody agrees about that. The machlokas between Beis Shammai and Beisil is the shalom nigmar malachton when they have not been fully processed. In that case, I say such as if you have buckets of grapes that are going to be pressed. Besides in the muktzah or buckets of figs which are going to be dried. So Beis Shammai mean Ma'aser Sheni. Beis Shammai says that the Ma'aser Sheni Yal v'Yochel Yerushalayim. That too, if that type of fruit passed through Yerushalayim, it's incumbent upon you to bring the Ma'aser Sheni back to Yerushalayim. Beis mean be part of Yochel b'Chol Makom. You can redeem it and eat it anywhere. Now that's all Tanakama's opinion. That both Beis Shammai and Beisil agree when Nigmar Malachton that the Ma'aser Sheni has to be returned to Yerushalayim, and they only disagree about Perish Lo Nigmar Malachton. However, Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda's got a different perspective. Rabbi Yossi, Lo nechlu Beis Shammai Beisil Perish Lo Nigmar Malachton. Beis Shammai Beisil do not disagree that fruit which is not fully completed, that certainly Sheipah the Ma'aser Sheni Shlem, that even though they pass through Yerushalayim, you can redeem their Ma'aser Sheni and Yochel b'Chol Makom and eat it anywhere. Amar nechluku their machlokas concern Perish Nigmar Malachton, fruit which the malacha was finished. Beis Shammai Yachzor Ma'aser Sheni Shelohem v'Yochal b'Yerushalayim. Beis Shammai says on that it's got to go back to Yerushalayim since it was Nigmar Malachton. Beisil says even this can be redeemed. Even though it's fully processed. Since it at Yerushalayim not as Ma'aser Sheni but as Tevel, so then once it leaves Yerushalayim you can still redeem, but make it Ma'aser Sheni and redeem it and bring the money up to Yerushalayim. So now we're going to Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda's interpretation. Beisil Beis Shammai, Beisil back to the Gemara, 4 lines to the bottom. Beis Shammai, Beisil said to Beis Shammai, don't you concede us that fruit which is not fully processed, that she put the Ma'aser Sheni, you should redeem the Ma'aser Sheni, v'yochel b'Chol Makom and eat it anywhere. Okay, the same thing was true about fruit which was completely finished already. What's the difference? It's just Tevel passing through. It's not Ma'aser Sheni yet. Beis Shammai said, you know what? Not comparable. Food which is not fully processed yet, shu yachol lav kilon. You can make them hefker. V'fochim in the ma'aser, and you can make them exempt from ma'aser altogether. So that's why if they pass through Yerushalayim, they're not mechuyed, you don't have to return them. Why? Because they haven't even reached the stage where they are affiliated in the remotest way with ma'aser. They can still be exempted from ma'aser altogether. Tomer Perish Nigmar Malachton. How can you compare that to Perish Nigmar Malachton? Sheni Yocholav Kirin Lefotcher Mina Maisrus, where you cannot be mafkir them, and you can make them exempt from ma'aser. So according to the way the Gears in the Gemara is that. Oh, you of course can mafkir them, but you can't. The hefker won't make them exempt from ma'aser, because B'shas and Yeruach and Gemara Peri, they were not yet hefker. Yes. Of course, you can mafkir anything at any time, but it's still being chayv and ma'aser, right? So according to the Gemara, the Gears in the Gemara itself here is the most extraordinary gear. So everybody gets very astounded at what goes on here. In America in January 1998, I don't know what can astound us anymore. But the Gemara says, "Amla Beisil at Peush Nigmar Malachton Yachul Avkeron Ulepocher Mina Meisers." Says even fruit which is completely processed, you can be mafkir it and exempt it from meiser, which is shocking. This is the scandal of year 98, not the scandal of year 1998.
The scandal of Ma'aser Sheni.
Yeah, the Ma'aser Sheni scandal. So the thing is, how can you say such a thing? That all the Mefarshim go crazy. You can't be mafkir and exempt them. You have to gemar malacha. So they give all sorts of dochak answers. And perhaps you can be mafki or something after it's completely processed and exempted from meisers. But the Gra, you know how the Gra functions in Yerushalmi. He just went through this with a pen. So he skips. He says that the proper girsa is Armland Beis Hill Af Peiros. Shenigmar Malachton, Ridbaz brings it down. You can see in the second line in Ridbaz. HaPerush Nigmar Malachton, also fruit which is completed, Yochel Otzialein Sheni, Mimakam Acher. You don't have to make this Ma'aser Sheni. What's your assumption, Beis Shammai, that this is going to be, that sits Nigmar Malachton, and now it's susceptible to tithing? There is Ma'aser Sheni here? And that Ma'aser Sheni now, having passed, at least in hypothesis, in its hypothetical form, it's in dormant form, through Yerushalayim, should now no longer be susceptible to redemption. Who says there's any Ma'aser Sheni here near whatsoever? There may be no Ma'aser Sheni here, right? Because you might take Ma'aser Sheni on this container from somewhere else altogether. So therefore, how can you say the Ma'aser Sheni gets caught, so to speak, by the walls? There's no inherent Ma'aser Sheni here. Now, according to the Gra, you erase the next 5 lines. You see, Armalan Beis Hill, look inside, the 4th line, Armalan Beis Hill, Aperush Nigmar Malachton, skip down to Yochel Otzialein Sheni Makom Acher, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13th line, two words before the end. So you skip mamish. This is amazing what the in the Bavli, you'd never be able to get away with this, right? But again, he goes from the 4th line, Armalan Beis Hill Perishing Lachton, then skip all the way down to the 13th line, 2 words from the end, Yochel Otzialein Sheni Makom Acher. You can take the Ma'aser Sheni from elsewhere.
He obviously read Louis Ginsburg's introduction.
Yeah, well, Louis Ginsburg was a great grandson of the Gra's brother, so obviously has something to do with it. I don't know. Okay, so however, we can read it. Just so there,
in the Ritvaz, it uses the word
everything which is in the middle is extraneous. Everything between line 4 and line 13. No, I know. Yeah, I could tell from the furrow on your brow before that you thought it was part of the text. No. Everything between line 4 and line 13 is erased. That's what he means to say. Okay? So, we'll read it anyway, because it's not as if it makes no sense. It can be read. Amlan Beis Hillel, so Beis Hillel said, Perush Nigmar Malachton, the conventional way of reading. Line 5. Perush Nigmar Malachton, so to fruit which was completed, Yochel Avkiran, you can be Mafkir, Butcher, Meiser, and exempted from Meiser. As the Gemara, V'chisali Teinim, Vanovim Lachila, Shemain Yochel Avkiran, Lefotra Mina Meisers. So, well, it's still Beis Hillel speaking, really. Do you think so? Baskets of figs and grapes, which are still about to eat, you don't think you can be mafka them and pater them from Meiser? You can't. This means to tell us, Sali Teim Lachila v'Sali Novim Lachila Kamar Melochein. This is kind of an aside. Again, the Gra is not Goris, all this is really, according to the Gra, this is all excess verbiage. But according to Bashab Shach, so Rasei Beis Hillel says, no matter what, even if it's fully completed, then you can still be mafkir. And the more on its sidelines, on a tangent, says that by figs and grapes that you're meant to eat. So when it's already in the container, then of course it's the Gemara Malacha, right? There's nothing afterwards because you don't intend to press it. And the Gemara says that even in that stage, of course, Beis Hillel says you can be mafkir the fruits, okay, even though it's fully formed. Only Beis Shammai, again, this is all part of the Gra's no man's land. Only Beis Shammai said, no, there's no comparison here. You can't say just because of in fruit where it's not nigmar. Mr. Zug, you sure you want to give up coffee? Where's your Perrier?
On the floor.
On the floor. Oh. Okay, it says Ma'amla Beis Shammai said, Lo Yamad the Perish Lo Nigmar Malachton. Beis Shammai says, wait a minute. I understand by fruit. This is a different version now. According to the Gra, again, this is all expunged. But Amla Beis Shammai attacks Beis Hillel from a different angle. Lo Yamad the Perish Lo Nigmar Achlon. Shlo Nigmar Malachton. I understand by fruit which is not Nigmar Malachton. In other words, it's not fully processed. Shiach Lo Tzilei Memokom Acher Sheni Mokom Acher. You can take Ma'aser Sheni off them from somewhere else. Torah Perish Nigmar Malachton. But how about over here? It's Perish Nigmar Malachton. She'enu Yochel Lo Tzilei Sheni Mokom Acher. You can't take the Ma'aser Sheni somewhere else. Now, of course, the Gra gains by his expunging the whole intermediate what's the word? That's the English translation for Bein Hasaim. The whole Gemara in between.
In the interim.
In the interim. The whole interim Gemara?
No.
It's not the right word. It's not the right word. No. You need a verb. Inter something Gemara. But anyway, according to the Gra, you don't come up with he saves another difficulty, because here Beis Shammai is saying to Beis Hillel, gotcha, because once you have Perish Nigmar Malachton, which passed through Yerushalmi, the Ma'aser Sheni for this Peros must be taken off internally from that fruit itself. And the truth is, there's no such halacha that we know of. Who says? Maybe yes, maybe no. We asked before, Rabbi Mona asked if that's the halacha or not the halacha. We don't know for a fact that there's such a halacha. But according to the Gemara here, Beis Shammai is stating explicitly that which Rabbi Mona before asked as a question. Do we know whether the halacha is that once this grain fully processed passes through Yerushalmi, you have to take the Ma'aser Sheni off of it internally. And here Beis Shammai is using that as a blow against Beis Hillel. But according to the Gra, who takes out all the shakla of Italia, all the discussions in the middle, so the Gemara began with the question on Beis Hillel. According to you, Beis Hillel, Lichoira, once it's Nigmar Malachton, it's no longer susceptible to hefker and such like. So when it passes through Yerushalmi, it should receive the halacha as if Ma'aser Sheni is in it. Says the Beis Hillel, no. Could be the Ma'aser Sheni you'll take off from somewhere else. And that line which Beis Shammai used against Beis Hillel now becomes Beis Hillel's claim himself. As Beis Shammai took it, according to without the Gra, I'm trying to highlight how the Gra changes everything, turns everything on its head. According to the Gra, without the Gra, you'd say that this is Beis Shammai's complaint against Beis Hillel. Now you can't take Meiser from somewhere else on this. According to the Gra, this now becomes Beis Hillel's retort to Beis Shammai. That no halachas, no special halachas attach themselves to this tevel as it passes through Yerushalmi, because there may well be no Ma'aser Sheni at all in this tevel here. Okay? Says more further. Hata pashta, shela amar Rabbi Zira. The truth is that this work out either like the Gra or like the other Mandam. I just realized that. I want to delete from the record something I just said about 5 lines ago. I know you don't remember exactly what I said 5 lines ago, but I'll tell you what I said. The Gemara itself says that this Gemara, which we just learned, resolves the question Rabbi Zira before. Right? I said Rabbi Mona, it's Rabbi Zira. Rabbi Zira is the one who asked the question whether you can take Trumas or Ma'aser, you take Ma'aser Sheni off of somewhere else once Tevel passes through Yerushalayim, it has to be internal. So whether you learn like the Gra or like the other opinion, like the conventional reading of the Gemara, that question will be resolved one way or the other. Because according to because if you read like conventional reading, so then Beis Shammai said to Beis Hillel, you cannot be motzi mimakom acher, and Beis Hillel did not respond, which means Beis Hillel gives tacit agreement to the concept that the Ma'aser Sheni must come inherently from this here itself. Okay, according to the Gra, au contraire, according to the Gra, by Beis Hillel retorted to Beis Shammai that there's no inherent Ma'aser Sheni in here. In this batch, because I can take the Ma'aser Sheni from somewhere else. So according to the Gra's version, yes, Rabbi Zira's question is also answered. How is it answered? Leniently. That even after the Tevel is passed through Yerushalayim, by Perish Nigmar Malachta, fully processed fruit, I can still make a redemption based on the assumption that nothing has fixed the Ma'aser Sheni in here. I might well be able to take Ma'aser Sheni off from somewhere else, and the Rabbi Zira's question is resolved. Okay. Says more further, Rabbi Chanina and Rabbi Yona's son and Rabbi Shua ben Levi all Yerushalayim. They went up to Yerushalayim. This is a cryptic Gemara, but one thing is clear here. This is the first reason in Shas to actually have women learn Daf Yomi, both in Bavli and Yerushalmi. I've never seen any reason before for women to learn. Only hundreds and thousands of reasons for them not to learn. This is an amazing Gemara. Says Gemara, Rabbi Zira, you'll see, obviously. Rabbi Zira, Rabbi Chanina, Rabbi Zira is the previous thing. Chanina, Rabbi Yonis, Rabbi Yeshua, and Levi, Ol Yerushalayim. Nismael and Peros. That was after the Churban. That's important. There's no real Yerushalayim now, right? There's Elia Capitolina, whatever the Romans called it. So they went up to Yerushalayim, Nismael and Peros, they got fruit. Uvikesh livdaiso. Now the Gridbaz, I don't think he changes the girsa, but he changes the meaning. It should, though it says big vulin, it really is as if it says kigivulin. They wanted to redeem the fruit in Yerushalayim as if it was outside Yerushalayim. Why? Because there is no Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is destroyed. So they want to treat the interior of Yerushalayim as if it was outside the city. And they want to be able to redeem fruit inside the ruins of Jerusalem. Okay?
There's still walls up.
They're not, first of all, they're not Jewish walls.
Korban of Bayis Rishon. Just saying, Korban of Bayis Rishon. There's still walls today from Bayis Rishon. The old city.
Where?
Here at Tikka.
No.
Absolutely. Yes. This is like Ben Soromara, and I saw it.
Where?
There, my cousin's a tour guide, David McGann.
Where is it?
It's in the old city. You come to it. It's near the Cardo.
Those are underground. They excavated them.
Man, I mean, now they're underground.
No, they're underground already in time by Sheni.
I don't know.
Yes, they're sunken. No, there were no walls.
Besides, if Jesus called us, does that mean...
Anyway, but I have a different answer for you. You're right. I have a different answer for you. Let's say you're right. But the Kedusha Shleim is contingent for on the Beis HaMikdash. In other words, the question is whether Kedusha Rishon and Kitchel Shaita V'lo Kitchel Asi Lovo or not. And they yell Kedusha Rishon Kitchel Shaita V'lo Kitchel Asi Lovo. Not the Kedusha of Eretz, but Kedusha of Yerushalayim. There has to be a Beis HaMikdash standing. Once the Beis HaMikdash is destroyed, the Kedusha of Yerushalayim falls off. Now, we don't paskin like that. We paskin some machlokas Rambam and Ravid, one of the most famous machlokas in Rambam and Ravid in the book. We paskin like the Rambam Kedusha Rishon Kitchel Shaita V'Kitchel Asi Lovo. The once the second Beis HaMikdash was built, for all eternity, the Kedusha applies to Yerushalayim. But these Madomrim held, Kedusha trying to get you shayt of a lokit shalosi loa. Not like the Ravid. Along came Amar Loin Chad, and there's a typo here, it should be Chad Safta. A certain old woman came. This is Rabbi Zir, Rabbi Chanina, Rabbi Yonasan, Rabbi Shimon Levi, the greatest Amoraim. And here comes a woman and says, you guys are all wrong. I told you, it's the reason for women to learn. So they won't learn Bavli, they'll learn Yerushalmi, the women. So it says her, Amar Lahun Chad Safta, Avuchon lo havdun kain. Your fathers didn't do this. Because after all, their fathers also lived after the Churban. It was already 150, 200 years after the Churban almost. So he said, more. So he said, your fathers didn't do that. Ela mafkon should be, they took it out, chutz lachoyma poidim osam sham. They redeem it outside the wall, not inside Yerushalayim. Even inside the new Roman wall, they will not redeem Ma'aser Sheni. Only outside Yerushalayim. Okay? Safta Havris Meimar. It's amazing. The old lady thought her svara is Roinas Amachitzas Kilu Oilus. Truth is, there were no walls at all at this point, it seems. But we see the walls, or maybe we're talking about the Jewish walls. We see the walls as if they rise from the ground.
Right? Absolutely. I agree with 100%.
Oh, well, so does the Rambam.
Because it doesn't have to be a height. You're not looking at.
No, the walls were destroyed.
I understand.
Yeah.
There's a base. They weren't totally up.
Well, they're not 10 fucking high.
I don't know that.
No, they weren't 10 fucking high. He's saying they rise up from the ground. That's what he means. Not if they're 10 fucking high mechitzas, they don't need a spar, right? They have good asik, whatever. This is she holds the kedusha shani kitchen shayt the kitchen losi lava. That's what she holds. The kedusha line doesn't fall off. Vilna and Rabbanan, these rabbis, what do they know? The Rabbanan having serving Meimar, they thought ein roin as amachitzas kiloi lois. You don't see the walls if they rise. Safta chad have a savra Meimar Rabbi Eliezer. Now here he makes major changes in the gears of the Ritbaz. Here it's supposed to be the Safta. You see, if you take a look right opposite, you see the Gilin Hashas between Yerushalayim and the Radbaz. I mean, in the left-hand margin, those words. So right opposite in the Radbaz. Can you guys read the Radbaz? It's barely.
My glasses off, I can.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, there is a larger print Yerushalmi. This is just the medium print you guys have. I'm sorry. The line below that. Valzem Mesik Safta Savra. You see that? No, it's way down. Opposite the text of Gilead Hashas V'Tzir Yerushalayim. Not opposite the title, opposite the text. Valzem Mesik, and continues to go on. Safta Savri Meimar Katana Kama. Sorry, Rabbi Shimon ben Chai. Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda. Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda. So in our Mishnah, it's Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda. So Safta holds like Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda, meaning that once it goes into Yerushalayim, it can still go out again. Because she held you can go out. She held that you can take it out and redeem it outside Yerushalayim. Just not in Yerushalayim, but you can take it out. The Re'ilein Rabbanon Savri Meimar Katana Kama. The rabbis held like Tanakama, though. Meaning, it's the Ritbaz says, not Dafka they hold like Tanakama. They go like Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda too. The point is that the Safta can only hold like Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda. Because the Safta said, what should you do with it? Take it outside Yerushalayim and redeem it. So the Safta is clearly coming down on the side of Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda, that even once fruit enters Yerushalayim, can still take it out and redeem it. Rabbanan disagree. Tanakama and Mishnah disagrees. Tanakama says once it enters Yerushalayim, that's it. Even Beis Hillel says that's it. Can't be taken out again, right? So clearly the Safta has got to go like Rabbi Shimon bar Yehuda. Okay. Says go on further. Rabbi Pinchas Misayvla. Okay, you got the place. 3 lines to the bottom. That's the end of the Ma'aser with the Safta. So he passed him like basically like the Safta. Rabbi Pinchas Misayvla. But Pinchas would be matame the fruit. upadalon, only redeem it then, and only then outside Yerushalayim. So the chashash l'da u'ledein. He's chashash you can't do it in Yerushalayim, right? And you can't even take it outside Yerushalayim. But if it's tummy, you can take it outside Yerushalayim.
So he was Matame the Teva, or he was Matame the
Ma'aser Sheni. Yeah, Ma'aser Sheni. Although I don't know, Taki. Maybe his Taki was only Matame the Teva. It's a good point, because Pashtus, I didn't think about that when I was preparing, but you're probably right. You're probably not allowed to be Matame Ma'aser Sheni once it's Ma'aser Sheni. So he probably was Matame the Tevel, and then took it outside Yerushalayim in order to redeem it there. That's a good point. Yeah, it makes sense.
The Moshe doesn't say that.
Yeah. No, here it says Paris Ma'aser Sheni. I guess because Paris Ma'aser Sheni is not as the Rabbanan, so therefore you can be Mekel. But I like your shot better. They used Matame the Tevel and took it out.
And why was it Mitzvah? I don't understand the
What?
logic of being Matame.
So,
Because there's a shita which holds that you can take out Teva, the Ma'aser Sheni, or Teva at least, when it's tummy. But you can't take out when it's Torah once it enters Yerushalayim. Right? Not like the Safto says you can. But there is a shita which says you can't take it out when it's tummy. So he was choshish for that. It was Matame in order to take it out. Okay? Rabbi Yaakov Bar Yidi, Rabbi Shubin Levi, said, Halacha kedivrei ha-talmid. The halacha is like the student, meaning Rabbi Shimon Bar Yehuda. He was the student. Tanakam is the Rebbe. We pass on like Rabbi Shimon Yehuda that there are scenarios in which the grain can leave Yerushalayim. Now, in fact, we pass it is once it comes Ma'aser Sheni, you can't leave. You take Ma'aser Sheni to the old city today, you're stuck. You can't take it out. Not only into the old city, but wherever their walls were. Right? They know where the walls extended to because of the excavations. So wherever the walls extended to, you can't take it out anymore. Can't redeem it, can't take it out. However, I'm not sure, but I'm not 100% sure, but I'm 99.9% sure that if you buy Tevel in the old city, right, you can take it outside. And take Ma'aser Sheni of it outside the old city and then redeem it. Okay, because it's specifically, once it's in the state of Ma'aser Sheni, you may no longer remove it from the old city. But before it reaches that state, you're allowed to remove it. Okay, which is mamish like the Safta said. Take it outside when it's Tevel, though. I don't know. It's not clear in the case itself. When the Ma'aser, Rabbi Shimon Levi, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi China, and the Safta, whether it was already Ma'aser Sheni or was still Tevel. But to this extent, we do pass like the Safta, that you can take it out when it's still Tevel, take off the Ma'aser Sheni outside Yerushalayim, and then redeem it there. Okay? Outside the old city. Okay, it says more Rabbi Zero. Our Mishnah said that you're allowed to take Ma'aser Sheni of Demai outside Yerushalayim. Okay, you can take it outside Yerushalayim and nichnas v'yotze v'nifter and go in and out and be redeemed. So Rabbi Zira says, it's not really talking about the Ma'aser Sheni of Demai. It's talking about the fruit of Demai from which you haven't yet taken Ma'aser Sheni. Or Demai Atzmo, but the Demai itself, meaning the Ma'aser Sheni, Demai itself, Kvar Tefasa Mechitza. Once it enters the walls of Yerushalayim, it's got to stay in Yerushalayim. Okay, it's only the Ma'aser Sheni, only the Demai in the state before the Ma'aser Sheni has been taken off that we're allowed to take it outside Yerushalayim. But once the Ma'aser Sheni has been separated and isolated, that event is Yerushalayim has got to stay in Yerushalayim. Okay. Says Mishnah further. Halacha Dalet. Now this is a Mishnah we actually had not too long ago. I think it was in Masechet Ma'aser, if I'm not mistaken. Certainly no longer ago than Trumos. Ilan Shuomed Bifnim. It's interesting. The editors of Yerushalmi seem to have had a major inferiority complex. If you take a look here in the Masorah Shas on the side, it just brings out where it is in the Bavli, not where it is in the Yerushalmi. Okay, Ilan Shuomed Bifnim. A tree which is standing inside the city of Yerushalayim, and the foliage is outside Yerushalayim. You all remember this, right? Standing outside Yerushalayim, and the foliage is inside Yerushalayim. It's as if we draw a direct line up and down from the wall, which is opposite the wall, and inside Klifnim is like inside. Anything which is from opposite the wall and outside Klachutz is like outside. Okay, but the abadim should be schein lifnim. If you have a olive press which where the opening is facing the inside. Whereas the bulk of the room, which is the wine press, is outside Yerushalayim. Or the opening is outside Yerushalayim. But the bulk of the room is inside Yerushalayim. So B'Shamar says regardless, everything is like the inside. We're machmir. Everything, as long as there's some affiliation to the inside Yerushalayim, everything connected to there too has the kedusha of Yerushalayim. Says the Gemara, they still argue, and they say, we draw the same line. Anything which falls within the wall is like within the wall. Anything which is like without the wall, based on the plumb line measuring, kilachutz is like outside. Eretz Yisrael, outside Yerushalayim. Halashakos, but similarly, we have halacha. Halashakos b'nuyas b'kodesh. If you have the offices in the Beis Hamikdash, some which are built in the holy precincts, but their openings open outside the holy precincts. Their inside is chol. The gagos stay in kodesh, but their roofs are kodesh because the gagos are not open into the chol. Benuyas b'chol, they're built into the chol, they're built into the mundane part, meaning the harabayis. Upsuchas the kodesh, and they open into the kodesh. Tochon kodesh, in that case, we say the exact opposite. Their inside is kodesh. We got gosei and chol, and their roofs are chol, because of course the roofs are outside the azara. Benuyas b'kodesh, if they're built in the kodesh, ubachol and in the chol, both together. Upsuchas the kodesh chol, they have openings both into the chol and the kodesh together. Tochon of the Gagio saying, you draw the imaginary plumb line from inside the sacred precincts, and inside is kodesh. From outside is chol. Okay? Says more further. Now, before we say the more further, actually, you should aware that this Gemara too, the Gra changes and turns on its head, as Rid Baz does here, the name of the Gra. And not as well. But he changes things around. Later on in the sugya, at the very end of the sugya, he brings that down here first. I'm Rabbi Yossi. See 3 lines before the next Mishnah? I'm Rabbi Yossi. Zoom Mishnah's Rabbi Akiva. This should be first. This is all. Our Mishnah is all going to Rabbi Akiva, but it says we draw plumb lines. Well, depends actually where they open, I should say. Chachamim.
I don't
know what he's dealing with going this.
The knock was stopped in one case, or during this case, he thought that this guy was must be a great person. He was not even
yeah, so it means like this. All the shakos they gave a separate halacha, all the offices of Beis Hamikdash, and they gave the general principle that we don't draw plumb lines, but rather but then we go after their openings, and that's what determines the status of the lishka. Now, how so? And this you go back to the beginning of the Gemara. Rabbi Lazar said l'chumarin, to be machmir, always good to be machmir. Rabbi Yosef boy, ma'al l'chumarin, what is this chumrah? Rabbi Yosef said, hada ditznina tamad, this is that which we learned over there. Now, I'd rather just read this in Rid Baz, because it's going to save us some agwas nefesh. If you look in Rid Baz, it says here, in the first narrow line in the Rid Baz, do you see that? Rabbeinu Yoina in the Gemara explains, but they badodim, by olive presses, shepischein livnim is the openings on the inside, the chalal l'chutz and their space is on the outside. That which is inside the wall is like inside the wall, and that which is outside the wall, Edo is outside the wall. And there you can't eat korbanos which allowed to be in the entire city of Yerushalayim, namely shlamim. kilachutz, because like outside. Yerushalmi Ma'aser Sheni. However, you're not. Well, this is actually talking about Yerushalayim, not about Eretz Yisrael. Yeah, it's Yerushalayim. It's talking about Kochim Kalim. That's eating Yerushalayim, and also we can negate Hachoyim v'lachutz kilachutz. We'll say about the Beis HaMikdash now. Let's talk about the Yerushalayim. Just a second.
The omission of the clause pledging property prior.
You know what, why don't we read inside, because this I think is exactly the same, this part. Let's go to the second line of the Gemara. Rabbi Yehuda said, Hada, what's the chumrah? Like that which you learned Talmud over there. Based on Batei Abadim, you have presses, where the openings are towards the inside of Yerushalayim. Chlal L'chutz, and their cavities on the outside of Yerushalayim. So if it was L'kul, I would say the whole thing is part of Yerushalayim. However, what do I say? I say L'chumra. Mikaneged HaChoyim Avlifnim, that which is opposite the wall, and inside, Kelifnim. That's like inside. Mikaneged HaChoyim L'chutz, that which is opposite the wall, and outside the wall, Kelachutz. It's like outside. So therefore, in the olive press, which is outside Yerushalayim, and sheichtim shom kochim kalim. You can't sheich their kochim kalim. Sheichtim is lav dafka. It's a typo. The Red Bar says, because what does it mean? Where do you sheich kochim kalim? That's what threw me off in the Rabbah. Where do you sheich kochim kalim? Has to be in the Beis HaMikdash. We're talking about Yerushalayim. So we're really talking about here Achilas Kochim Kalim, which could take place throughout Yerushalayim. So there, even though the Pesach is Lifnim, even though the opening to the room is inside the wall, since we use the plumb line, so the rest of it is outside the wall. Right? That's reality. So there we can't eat Kochim Kalim there. Below Podim Shal Ma'aser Sheni. However, you know what the Chumrah on the other side is? You can't redeem their Ma'aser Sheni. That's an important point. The chumrah that we consider outside, the kula we consider outside. I don't know if it's really a kula. They're both chumras. The chumrah is that we can't eat kochim kalim there, which is a chumrah to regard it as if it's outside the city because it's past the plumb line. Yeah, we give it the chumrah the other direction as well. The chumrah the other direction is that you can't redeem their Ma'aser Sheni. You redeem Ma'aser Sheni anywhere outside Yerushalayim, right? But this is not considered outside Yerushalayim. It's l'chumrah. I don't let you redeem Ma'aser Sheni there because I assume we can give it the status of Yerushalayim vis-a-vis this. So that's what it means. We go l'chumrah in both directions. In one direction we go l'chumrah that we say you can't do Kochim Kalim there because since it's beyond the plumb line of the wall, it should be considered outside the city. And on the other end, we say you can at that juncture. You cannot at that juncture. You cannot at that place be Podem Ma'aser Sheni. Because vis-a-vis Ma'aser Sheni, I assume it's like inside Yerushalayim, even beyond the plumb line, since the Pesach opens into the inside of Yerushalayim, and therefore it's considered to be part and parcel of the area in which Ma'aser Sheni is not redeemable. Okay? It's the last word in the fifth line from the bottom. Last word, fifth line from the bottom. In bischem lachutz v'chalol lifnim. If their openings are open outside Yerushalayim, and the cavities of these chambers are inside Yerushalayim, so then it depends. For that which is outside the wall of Yerushalayim, kilachutz, it's like outside Yerushalayim. That which is inside the wall, kilifnim, is like inside Yerushalayim. Meaning, again, the chumrah. Since the opening is towards the outside of Yerushalayim, I give you a chumrah, and I say that even though the room itself is inside Yerushalayim, you can't eat kachim kalim there. Again, the typo. You can't eat kachim kalim. Hi, it's inside Yerushalayim. Its war opening is outside Yerushalayim. Everybody understand the scenario? So we have to give it the chumrah. On the other end, what's the chumrah on the other side? The chumrah on the other side is lo pod Yerushalmi Ma'aser Sheni kelachutz. You can't even consider it. Right, that's also a typo there. Should be ain't shochlim shom kachim kalim because it's lachutz. Ain't ochlim shom kachim kalim because it's lachutz. Yeah, it should be a double typo.
If Elisha, the main value rabbis in the target, the still remain 2,200 rabbis.
Yeah, there's a typo here.
They did not offer up any.
I don't know if the Rebaz remarked it, but it's so obvious. Ain't shochlim shom kachim kalim kilachutz lo podim shom Ma'aser Sheni kilifnim. It's obvious, right? Such an obvious type. In other words, this room, even though it's inside Yerushalayim, since the opening of the room is outside Yerushalayim, so you have to vis-a-vis the halacha kachim kalim, you have to be machmir and not eat in the room. And vis-a-vis the halacha Ma'aser Sheni, you have to be machmir and not redeem it because it might taka be Yerushalayim. Okay, I'm Rabbi Yaakov Baracha. Kini mas nisa. This is the way to read our Mishnah. Concergate to the L'shokos in the base of Mikdash, or obviously the base of Mikdash. Tochan Kodesh, the inside is holy. V'gago Seyen Chol, and the roofs are not holy. Mikeneged HaKodesh LaKodesh. However, opposite the Kodesh and towards the Kodesh is Kodesh. Mikeneged Chol, opposite the Chol, V'lachol, and towards the Chol. That's all Chol. So he says that basically by the L'shokos we take a strict geographical survey of how they're located, and that's how we decide their status. Truth is, we have a very explicit raya for that, it seems to me, from Lishkas HaGozis. Because Lishkas HaGozis where the Sanhedrin sat. So they all, it doesn't seem to have made a difference where...
In a year of famine, they have so much food that's not normal. So consequently, it must include that.
No, it did make a difference. There were special.
Meaning, so you have 22 loaves.
I want to use a different example because I'm not sure about which causes, but I know about the Beis HaMoked, where they used to spend the night. So there were special areas where they were allowed to sit down and sleep and so on. Special areas where they were not allowed to sit down and sleep and so on and so forth. So we see there that and they had a row of bricks to tell you where that was. Right, a row of pegs or whatever it is. So we see clearly that this is the halacha that
22 people and 22 loaves. Each one is for 100 people. Says that
it goes not by where the opening is, but rather by where the actual boundary is. Not by the opening, because otherwise there wouldn't need the way to recognize it. It goes by where the actual boundary is. So it says the Gemara, that's what Rabbi Yaakov Baracha is saying. He's saying that Mikeneged HaKodesh LaKodesh Kodesh, Mikeneged HaChol LaChol Chol. Right, everything has to do with location. Benuyas BaKodesh, top of Yud Chesem Av now. Benuyas BaKodesh Upsuchas LaKodesh Vilachol. What if they're built in the holy place, but they're open both to Kodesh and to the Chol? So that is, they say Tochel Kodesh, the inside is Kodesh. Benuyas B'Chol, they're built into a profane place. Upsuchas HaKodesh V'Lachol, they're open to both profane and holy. Tochon Chol. Then the inside is Chol. Hein Dat Omar, that what you said, Tochel Kodesh, that within the rooms is Kodesh, if it's open to both Kodesh and Chol. So Ochlim Shon Kachim is considered so Kodesh that it's part of the Azara, and keep in their Korbanos, Chatos, and Hashamos, V'Shochtim Shon Kachim Kalim, and you actually use that as a Shechita place for a Kachim Kalim, which is shechted anywhere in the Azara, anywhere in the Korei Beis HaMikdash, V'Tavish Shon Chayev, and Not like the Arba'is says the tummy who enters those precincts chayiv. So it says more no. Rav Yehuda b'shem Rav said, "Ein lokin ela orech mea v'shmona shmonim v'sheva arochav mea shloshim v'chamesh." You only get malchus if you transgress the eating outside an area.
There were so many. It says.
You know what's malchus here for?
And people will get up and leave sick to
Atami comes into the areas which are kadosh, so only it's malchus if he comes into the actual Hazara, the actual courtyard, not if he goes into one of the rooms along the side. So even though you say Tochel Kodesh, it's a limited Kodesh. It's not Kodesh altogether like the Hazara. It's Kodesh in the Chumrah, kind of. In other words, you can't sit down there, you can't do all sorts of things there. You can't be there for your Baal Keri, so on and so forth, or Tome. But it's not considered to be completely Kodesh. That's what we're saying here. Again, Ein Lokin El Orach Mea V'Shmonim V'Sheva Arocha Mea Shloshim V'Chamisha, which is the actual mention of the Zohar. But Tani, I don't understand. Didn't we learn L'Shaka Shibli B'Shivu Yichom Asa Zohar, a L'Shaka which is built in equally, but it's flush with the wall of the Azora? It says Ochlim Shol Kachi Kachim. You can eat their Kachi Kachim in the Lishka. V'Shoichlim Shom Kachim Kalim, and you can. Oh no, you know. According to Rizbaz, it's got to be a raya. Yeah, it's a raya. Rizbaz says 4 lines to the end of Rizbaz. The previous page. This is a raya. It's a raya that the area of 185, 187 by 135 is a superiority over the other lashakos. Vatani, what's the raya? Learned that a brayso lishka she benuya b'shiva yichomas hazora, a lishka which is built in equally to the wall, flush with the wall of the hazora. So ochlim sham kachi, you can eat their kachi. One you got. Turim sham. I'm sorry. B'shoichlim sham kachi, you can eat shech their kachi. That's 2. However, the Tommy shechnas sham potter. Tommy enters there as potter. So we see it's downgraded only vis-a-vis one aspect. Period. Okay, because the rest of the Gemara, the Rizbaz already brought down at the beginning. So we have a raya, in fact, that by Lashakos it does not all exactly the way it seems. In other words, vis-a-vis certain halachos, the inside of a lishka could be kodesh, vis-a-vis certain ones could be chol, but even if we hold it's kodesh, it cannot be completely kodesh. Why is that? Because the chiyuv misa for entering the Beis Hamikdash Tamei, that only applies to someone who enters the actual courtyard area, the inner area of the Beis Hamikdash. Okay? Let's go further. Ma'aser Sheni Chas Yerushalayim. Who's outside? Is that Yossi?
You made a mistake.
Oh, Mr. Louis? Okay. Ma'aser Sheni which enters Yerushalayim, V'nitma, and entered and became Tomei. The truth is, this sugya which we're going to learn is an amazing sugya. Should we start it? Not start it? Start. Ma'aser Sheni Yerushalayim V'nitma became Tomei. Ben Shnidma B'ava Tuma, Ben Shnidma B'Vlad Tuma, it became Tomei with an Av, or Vlad is a Rishon. Ben Bifnim, or it became Tomei both inside, either inside or outside Yerushalayim. B'Shamrim Ma'akol Yipada, everything can be redeemed, but Yachami Bifnim, it has to be eaten inside Yerushalayim. Even the redeemed fruit, it's no longer Ma'aser Sheni. It has to be eaten in Yerushalayim. Chutz, with the exception of Shenidma B'Avatuma, crop which became Tomei with an Avatuma, B'Chutz, before it entered Yerushalayim. There Beis Shammai says you can take it outside Yerushalayim when you redeem it, because it can't be Ma'aser Sheni because it's Tomei. You can take the redeemed crop outside Yerushalayim and eat it there. Beis Hillel says the opposite. Beis Hillel Omrim, Akol Yipadeh, everything can be redeemed, any tumah can be redeemed, V'yachal B'Chutz, it can be eaten outside Yerushalayim. Chutz Mishenitma B'Vlad Tumah B'Fnim, except that which became Tomei with a Vlad Tumah, In other words, only was touched a rishon, and only became tummy inside bifnim. So there says Beis Hillel, it's too much yet a bona fide Ma'aser Sheni to be allowed to take it outside Yerushalayim. You can redeem it and eat it, but it has to be eaten inside Yerushalayim. So according to Beis Shammai, of all the possible cases, there's only one case which you must eat in Yerushalayim. Which you're allowed to eat outside Yerushalayim. When you can tell me with an avatuma, big tuma, already out before it entered Yerushalayim. Then you can redeem the fruit and eat the redeemed fruit outside Yerushalayim. According to Basil, there's only one case which you must eat within Yerushalayim, case where it's so slightly desecrated, where it became tummy only with a vladatuma, and only became tummy in Yerushalayim itself. Okay? Ksiv, it says, Kilo suchal, say so. Now, because you can't carry it. The Ma'aser Sheni, that's what you redeem it. Manakim, what are you talking about? Even Richuk Magov, it's because it's far away. Kvar Ksiv, it says, Kir B'Milcha. It's very distant from you, so we know that you can redeem it then. Im Kirmo can be very close by. Kvar Ksiv Nasata B'Kesef. Says you can redeem it when you're close to Shleim as well, as long as you're outside the city. El Ma'al Lo Suchal say so. What does it mean? Lo Suchal should be Lo Chlo typo. When you can't eat it. Why? What does it mean you can't eat it? When it became tummy. And that it says Uksiv Nasata Kesef. It says that even there's another Nasata Kesef which teaches us that if you became tummy, you can redeem it as well, which we learned already before. Bar Pada used to be matami it and then redeem it afterwards. Tani Bar Kapora, Bar Kapora says Ava Tuma. This is going to blow you out of the water. Better blow you out of the water. Tani Bar Kapora Ava Tuma Dvar Teicha. That suddenly becomes tummy with an Ava Tuma's Doraisa. Vlad Hatuma Midivreim. That a Rishon is Metame, it's only the Rabbana.
Any Rishon Matame?
Any Rishon. Rabbi Yechon Amar Ben Zeh Ben Zeh Divrei Torah. They're both Daraisa. That an Av is Metame and a Rishon is Metame, that's both Daraisa. And now we're going to go into Har Mishnah correlates to both these shittas. We'll go back to this tomorrow. Never saw that Bar Pada before, right?
It's not in the Bible.
It's not in the Bavli anywhere. Bar Kapar, right?